Hey everybody, Exile is here with a breakdown on the Amazon Ascendancy of the Huntress class. Um, Without further ado, let's get right to it. Right. We'll first talk about Azmeri Brew. Um, Azmeri Brew provides life flask and mana flasks to recover both mana and life. This is probably the worst node on this tree, but could be really good if you're running on low health or low mana and is about to die most of the time. Since you're using either a life flask um, or a mana flask most of the time, it makes sure that you have full health and full mana about 80% of the time. But given the other ascendancy nodes in this ascendancy, this would be picked up only in special cases. Um, Moving on to Mystic Harvest. Currently, there are no mods in the game that grant attack damage leached as life or elemental damage leached as life. Patch notes did not give any updates on this either. What we currently have is physical damage leached as life or mana, right? Right now, the only mods that can roll in items, gloves, or martial weapons is physical damage is leached as life or mana. Mystic Harvest has a confusing line that says life leech recovers based on elemental damage as well as physical damage. Now, does this node provide leech based on the damage that you deal, or will all the mods that provide life leech on physical also give life leech based on elemental damage? We will have to wait and see to take a look at the numbers about this because it does not have any other information other than what it says right in the ascendancy node. Moving on to the Stalking Panther. Now this is a node that I will be sure to take. It says that evasion rating is doubled for helmet, gloves, and boots. Evasion rating is halved on body armor. Now this is particularly good if you decide to go with Iron Reflex, as this node converts all of your evasion to armor, and you can slot in an armor-based body armor to stacked armor. Now the evasion rating from equipped body armor is halved. This is only based on evasion, and you can equip a body armor that has an armor base and won't have any downsides to it. This will also be extremely good with insulated thread that lets you gain ailment threshold equal to the lowest of evasion and armor on your boots, and strong chin that gains stun threshold equal to lowest of evasion and armor on helmet. Now the idea is to use evasion based helmet, evasion based gloves, and evasion based boots, and a body armor based on armor to make full use of these nodes on the skill tree. General's bindings on the skill tree and leather bound gauntlets on the skill tree are also nodes that will extremely be helpful with iron reflexes, as this helps us stack armor as much as possible. Moving on to elemental infusion. Now elemental infusion infuses your weapon by consuming a power charge to gain 2 cold infusions, or consume an endurance charge to gain 2 fire infusions, or consume a frenzy charge to gain 2 lightning infusions. Infusions empower your next attack. Empower is it helps or supports the next attack to be fully converted to the damage type matching the infusion. For example, if you have 2 fire infusion charges, your next attack will consume 1 infusion to deal 100% of physical damage converted to fire damage, and then cause an explosion based on that damage. Infused weapon can be socketed with the following supports as well. Profusion to get 50% chance to get an additional charge, and perpetual charge for the supported skill to have 35% chance to not remove charges but will still count as consuming them. Since the game allows only one support gem type to be allocated in the gem tree, you will need to decide if you need to use these supports in the combat frenzy to gain power / endurance or frenzy charges, or to gain infusion charges. Soulless Ips, a helmet, can be used to use the same support gem twice as well. Moreover, infusions also have its own critical damage numbers and accuracy numbers as shown in the picture. Moving on to Infused Avatar. Now, Infused Avatar is the next node when you take Elemental Infusion. This says that 50% chance for infusion charges to not consume when using a project skill for your next empowered attack. Now, a projectile skill is something that has some range between you and the monster you're attacking. It has to be a projectile skill like a bow skill or a huntress spear skill that has to be thrown. This is a good use for keeping up infusions on projectile skills only after you get your infusion charges up. This would also help in not using the helmet that I mentioned earlier, Soulless Ips, as provision will not be needed to be used here. It can be used in any other place that grants you charges, so that you do not have to wear the helmet, which is a big downside if you wear the helmet. Moving on to Predatory Instincts. This node reveals weaknesses in the health bar of rares and uniques that you find, and during this period of the health bar you deal 50% more damage. This damage is not hit based, and you can do 50% more damage with ailments such as bleed, poison, and ignite as well. Due to the change in 0.2 patch notes, bosses will go into their different phases as soon as they reach a certain health threshold. This was introduced because most of the builds used to one hit the boss without moving them into different phases. So to make sure that they move into phases, the patch note says that. And well, this node, which shows an open weakness, would be amazing to do quick damage in between phases. This node also extends into In for the Kill. Heading off Predatory Instincts, this is the previous node that I spoke of. When enemies are in open weakness, you have increased move speed and skill speed. Skill speed is basically action speed, and action speed gives you extra attack and cast speed. For a node of this caliber, I would not be putting in any points into it, as it will not be very helpful in a fight unless to run away during open weakness, which is not what we want. Attack speed, increasing attack speed would be a better choice rather than going in for an ascendancy node, which we have only 8 of. Moving on to Critical Strike. Now this is the best and the most broken node in the entire ascendancy here. You can have over 100% chance to hit, and 25% of the excess chance to hit is gained as additional crit chance. In Path of Exile 2, we have chance to hit change based on the distance to enemy. While in melee range, you have highest chance to hit, but when you are at a certain distance away, this changes to a lower value, and this is directly proportional to the critical chance we get from this node. Therefore, the critical chance will vary with the varying hit chance. Ziggy D has a video of this that he has tested as shown in the picture here. The link to that video will also be in the description below. This node also works wonders with pinpoint shot, as attacks further gain accuracy rating based on their critical hit chance. Therefore, more accuracy equals more critical hit chance, and more critical hit chance equals more accuracy. It becomes a vicious cycle with a shitload of damage. Now, the last node on the tree is the Penetrate skill. Attacks with your weapon gain 25% of the accuracy in the weapon mods as physical damage. This is another great node as you can get around 500 to 650 accuracy very easily on your weapon, and 25% of this damage will be granted as extra physical damage. We can do a calculation here. So we have 600 accuracy on your weapon, hypothetically. 25% of 600 is 150 added physical damage. No other tiers of mods on physical damage has this amount of physical damage added in the game currently. Now, this is very important with bleed builds, if you want to go that way. Even with charged infusions, it'll be really good. So how this works is, bleed takes 15% of the physical damage that you hit with after critical rolls and apply the bleed. Now, if you get a big physical hit in with your critical damage, 15% of the damage will be considered the highest bleed. You can read more about bleed in the link given in the description below. Now, with elemental infusion, 100% of physical damage is converted to that type of damage. So even that would do wonders with infused weapon. Now overall, this is one of the strongest ascendancies in the game. Since we're stacking accuracy, we can make use of Falcon Dive on the tree to get 1% increased attack speed per 250 accuracy. I'm also sure that all these nodes will be nerfed in the near future, so try it out before it gets culled, like the rest of the things that has happened in 0.2. Another thing to note is that accuracy stacking will be a little harder early game. This is because higher numbers of accuracy won't be available to you when you're getting through the acts. We will just have to get through the phase of getting through the acts to get a little bit more accuracy, and we have a build in our hands. Until we get accuracy, blade builds and charge infusion will carry you to the end game. Now, I will also be running Huntress at League Start tomorrow, and this will be a bleed build. I am a fan of bleed builds. In Path of Exile 1, I used to run bleed builds every single league, even though they were bad previously. But yeah, so let's see how it works out. Stay tuned for more content on this and follow for even more content. Exile Phoenix out.